Good morning, everyone. Oh, come on, we got to do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. All right. I need that energy back, all right? So good morning. As Joe said, my name is Kiley Summers, and I am the founder of SpenDebt. And here's my presentation. Consumer debt. Consumer debt, as we all know, is at an all-time high. Whether we're talking credit cards, student loans, mortgage, medical debt, you name it. It's a big problem. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
So for today's example, we're going to focus in on student loan debt. Student loan debt it's a problem. It's 43 million people with student loan debt. Of those, 2/3 of them are not doing anything to pay towards their debt. They're delinquent with payment. One may ask, well, the questions, how much do they owe when they graduate? It's $38,000 for the average undergrad, $58,000 for a graduate student. Upon further research, there's about $85 billion in past due student loan debt. That's delinquent payments. So the 2/3, they've racked up that $85 billion in payment. So how do we solve this problem? We solve it with SpenDebt, of course. SpenDebt is a financial technology company designed to improve consumers' financial health, leveraging micropayments through everyday transactions. Currently in the market today, you can spend and save with most banks, such as Bank of America Keep the Change program, or you can spend and invest with other financial technology companies such as Acorns. We like to say that we have created a third category, allowing people to spend and pay off debt at the same time. SpenDebt is automatic, it's painless, it creates discipline, but most importantly, it allows consumers to improve their financial health, leveraging micropayments. So how does it work? Assuming the consumer came to our platform, downloaded the app, created a profile, linking the bank account they want to pay from. So let's say I have a Chase checkings account, I will link it. Then you enter the debt account you want to pay. So if I have a Sallie Mae student loans, you would link it. Then you would define the micropayment. So that's anything greater than 50 cents. So for today's example, let's call it $1. After that, you begin spending. So let's say I'm going to buy my favorite cup of coffee. We all love our Starbucks, right? So my favorite cup of coffee is $5. Add the $1 micropayment. The total transaction is $6. $5 will go to Starbucks. $1 will go to my student loan debt. Over a course of a month, we aggregate those payments and send a one-time payment on your behalf to your student loan debt. Right? So if you have 100 transactions in 1 month, that's an additional $100 you now pay towards your student loan debt. So what's the business model? It's simple. We charge $1.99 for up to 25 transactions, or $2.99 for unlimited transactions per month. So let's think about what impact does SpenDebt really have. So here's a real example. So you have a $30,000 loan over a 10-year span. Over the life of that person paying back their loan without SpenDebt, they'll pay $350 a month as their minimum payment, but the total interest they pay for the life of their loan is nearly $15,000. Now, let's assume they use SpenDebt. They save $3,500 with $100 of additional payments just using SpenDebt's platform. This is a real example. This was me. This was me and my wife when we found ourselves in over $100,000 of debt. We wanted to accelerate debt payments, and I definitely wanted to do it with my student loans. And this is the real example, but we didn't have SpenDebt. We actually did it manually. So we look at the other end of the spectrum. Have another loan, it's $24,000 over a 10-year period, but this individual haven't started their careers. They don't have the extra money to make those payments. And they're still in school. They go to school, they drop out, and then they decide they want to go back. Well, the problem is they've been gone from the school for so long, they won't commit for them to have the the student loan. And so the student loan company asked the person, hey, if you commit to paying $5 a month, we'll give you the loan. But they didn't do it beforehand. After they found out that they need to commit $5 a month, they were granted the loan. But this is a real life example. So just by paying something towards your student loan debt, in this case, the student would have been able to continue that 6-month period, their education, and been able to achieve their career goals. So what's the strategy to getting the word out? We want to leverage event marketing as we are today with the 1 Million Cups. We definitely want to have a presence in digital media, such as Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And lastly, a big win for us will be developing those partnerships, whether it's via banks, education programs, or membership organizations. So what is the competition landscape? What does it look like? When we look at the umbrella of microtransaction companies, you have players like Capital, who their platform is designed to really help people achieve milestones, to whether it's a vacation trip, whether it's making a big purchase of a car. And you have other platforms such as Acorns, who allows and helps you to invest your money, leveraging micropayments. And then Digit is a platform that allows you just to save blindly, if you will, based on the algorithm they have created. They just take 7 cents here, 14 cents there. But that's the landscape of the microtransactions companies across. Direct competition, they haven't made a major splash in the marketplace today, but they do exist. We have one out of Atlanta, Georgia, Coins, and one in Chicago called Change that was featured on Shark Tank, Season 9, Episode 20, Segment 3. You have to know where your competition is. And then lastly, there's another one in Austin, Texas called Chipper. So our traction today has been very, very well. We've partnered with Capital One as a payment processor on the back end. That was a huge win for us being in this space. We have a patent pending based on the process that we created to pay off debt leverage of micropayments. We've won nearly $80,000 in pitch competition money, which is very important for us, particularly being a minority, having a fintech startup. It's hard to get funding. That was one of the ways we was able to continue our efforts, and we bootstrapped along with the competition money to get to where we are today. We're in both the Google and Apple Play Store, and we have real customers, and we're helping them solve their financial woes. So from a milestone standpoint, where are we in the process? Today, we went to the marketplace with the MVP. We launched our beta, and we're wrapping up beta 2, and we're gearing up to do an official launch this quarter of our official product, and to be able to compete on a national level with some of the companies that I mentioned to you today. Phase 2 is all about scale. How do we grow our team? How do we grow our user base? And how do we begin to really drive the marketing to really expand our product? My team is over here. If I can have Jack. Jack is our tech engineer. We have Kiley Summers. She's our co-founder, and myself. We're all the engineers, and we're working to put out the best product possible, so we can help continue the efforts of solving consumer debt. And so, for the crowd today, our ads is for intros, or if you have extended relationships that you will bring us into the fold. We would love helps with a PR firm, financial institutions, whether it's a bank, investment firm, schools or organizations, financial education programs to be considered as well, employee benefit consultants, or direct relationships to HRs that work for some of these companies, and then lastly, introductions with investors. If you can help with any of those things, that would be great. And so that's it. My name is Kiley Summers, and I'm the founder of SpenDebt. Thank you.
hold on to the microphone because you're going to start answering questions. So who would like to start with the questions? And please wait for the microphone so that the camera can hear you. Anyone? All right.
Good morning, Cal. My name is Keith Crawford, and I wanted to ask you if you're familiar with the small business majority.
I am not.
It is a small business, a national small business networking organization, nonprofit, okay, that has many members who probably have student debt for one thing. Certainly they have other debts that they might like to apply this to, and I think you'd be very welcome if you need an intro. I could help you with that. They do have a person here. Well, they did last month. Sometimes they move them around, but we can find it.
That would be excellent. I would love to connect with you afterwards.
All right.
Thank you.
So the percentage that is delinquent on their payments, what is your marketing strategy to, I guess, get this group to begin to adopt these saving or these debt reduction services? If they're already delinquent on using just normal services, what makes sure to be the instigation to get them to adopt this behavior?
Well, one thing for sure, we're not going to be able to change people's habits. And so holistically, how we created this platform, we wanted to do something that was in parallel to what people was doing. So I think it's still up to the consumer to make the decision whether they want to pay something towards their debt or not. But we want to focus on and find those clusters of people, whether it's student loan debt, credit cards, that want to accelerate debt payoff. So you have communities that follow like Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman. So we would target those individuals, right? It's hard to say for a person that may not be financially fit to do something like this. It's hard to get them to commit to something like this. But you have those that are unfinancially fit to do something like this, but they have to, they need to. And so we want to make sure that if it's not directly with the individual, we partner with the organizations that have those customers. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Okay, apropos of how the system actually works, do you have things in place that people only do this with a debit card? They don't like put their debt on a credit card and then expand their debt?
Yes, so this is a cash-based system, and that's why we link directly to the bank account. You can't use essentially credit to pay debt, right? And we definitely don't want to do that and allow the snowball to really grow on an individual.
Okay. I would also think you'd want to contact the HR department at all the hospitals, because you've got all those residents and they've got student debt. And if it was just something that HR didn't have to deal with but could present to residents as here's an opportunity for you, kind of like AFLAC, so you might want to partner with AFLAC agents because it's similar. You know, HR can offer it, but it doesn't cost them any time or effort. Yeah, that would probably work for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Great presentation, Kylie.
Thank you.
So 2 questions. Number 1, just out of curiosity, you must have a pretty wide gamut of customers. And so there must be a sweet spot because like given life issues, spending issues, and basically age, there's probably a sweet spot where people actually say, okay, I'm in a position that I'm capable of doing this. So do you have that demographic information? Like what is the typical average age of the person that signs into your program?
We're still collecting some of that data. We did get some, but I think it's too early to really make a strong push for just that demographic of people that we've collected so far. But we are starting to see some trends. Too early to really release. But yes, we are starting to see kind of what their sweet spot is. But I think we still have a little bit more data collection to go.
So then number 2, that's your gold mine. Because that's information that a lot of lenders would really like to have because it helps them figure out what their profile is of people who become mature enough to actually handle this, right? Because essentially you are actually the real data. It's not like a survey or something. You have the hard numbers. So I consider this a really big adjunct to your business.
So to speak to that, so the impact examples that I laid out, right? So those are real examples. So I gave you the first example. That was my situation, which I was fortunate to be in a position where we wanted to accelerate the debt that we accumulated, right? And I was financially fit to do it. The other example I gave you, that person was still essentially in school, or were trying to get back into school, and they wasn't in the same position that I was in. Two different type of people, two different financial situations. It's really about the decision that individual makes, and that was late to the question that gentleman asked in the back. So when it comes to that and thinking about the demographic, that's where it gets kind of hairy in terms of like really pinpointing who you target. And so our model today is set up to go to B2C, which is a very crowded space. There's a lot of noise there. So we want to take a step function leap and go B2B2C. And focus on target the organizations, and they will help us more, to your point, identify what their demographic is.
Because it could be some
Not only is it just that, there may be a huge multifactorial reason, and you and your wife, there might have been some unique, convergence between you and that other example, other than just age and completely different. So it might be that information is key. Like it could be a medical issue.
That's a good point. Thank you.
More questions?
Great job, Kylie.
Thank you.
I didn't see on the slide with the model was the $299 monthly bracket. Was that for unlimited transactions that it gets taken? And is it a static dollar amount that gets taken off? And I have a follow-up.
So it's a $2.99 per month for our service for unlimited
And
transactions.
that's for unlimited. The $1.99 was for 25.
Up to 25 transactions, yes.
Are you going straight to any of the campuses around St. Louis? Because I think kind of speaking to the demographic point, like you're basically, I think, taking advantage of people who aren't disciplined enough to set up like a static monthly payment on something like a credit card or something like a debt. You're giving them, they're paying that premium, but they're not having to really consciously worry about paying off that debt. And I think the model is great, but I think the demographic, speaking to his point, was those people are on college campuses. College kids aren't worrying about putting up their $25, $50 a month payment for getting their debt off. So they'd rather pay that premium to be like, oh yeah, I'm paying $1 a day off whenever I go get a coffee or something like that. So are you going to any college campuses like WashU or SLU or any of these?
That's the focus, and that's the footprint that we're working towards to have a splash. Some of the surrounding organizations, I think it's like 30 colleges and universities connected to kind of the St. Louis ecosystem,
Right.
and we want to take advantage of all of them.
Awesome. Pretty cool.
Thanks, Kylie, for the presentation. Could you talk a little bit about how your relationship with Capital One works? So how are they promoting this? And then have you considered rewards models tied to this, where maybe you've got a partner like Capital One and they are able to offer some reward in addition to the pat on the back you give yourself for paying off your debt?
So to your first question, Capital One is a payment processor, right? So we don't have a transmitter license, or we're not a money service business, so you need a partner to process those payments. So that's what Capital One is to us. The second question, there are a myriad of things that we are planning to do, but it's aligning all the stars, right, before you get there. What we would love to have a partner with to kind of help, accentuate someone's situation to help them achieve their goal a lot faster, i.e. rewards, but you have to have that funding mechanism in order to do that. And we have some other ways that we're thinking about in order to entice the customer, improve the lifetime value of the customer, and to your point, to help them achieve their goals, but to reward them for the continuation of improving their financial health.
Thanks.
I've got a few. Could you speak a little bit about your revenue, at present, and where you kind of anticipate the next, year and couple years?
So our focus wasn't on necessarily the revenue. I think we have customers, nothing to brag about. But before
You have customers, that's something to brag about.
the revenue is not the real customer is definitely something to brag about. But our goal for the remainder of the year, we want to do 10,000 customers, 3 business-to-business customers in one partnership. And so we have one partnership deal on the table. We're kind of working through kind of the financial piece, which will be huge for us. They have over 100,000 members, and so we're looking to do that partnership, and that will help move us to that revenue brag that you mentioned. But the focus, early on was really just prove the concept, get operational things on the back end tight, and so we've achieved that.
Okay. Any more questions? All right. Hold on.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Jack.
You talked about the patent that is pending, and what exactly that covers, rather, the process?
Yep. So if you guys are familiar with like Bank of America Keep the Change program, they have a patent on that program. Acorns has a patent on kind of their vehicle, their investment vehicle. So those were savings and investment vehicles. There's nothing related to kind of the debt micropayment process, if you will. And so we trying to capitalize on that patent piece, so we can solidify our own patent.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.